Hi everyone, it's Shea. Welcome to or back to my channel. If you're new here, I live in Los Angeles, my native language is English, and I am currently studying Italian. If you've been following my journey for a long time, I have a very exciting video for you today. In this video, I will be talking all about my plans for moving to Italy in 2022 and my plans for how I'm going to actually make it happen. Recently, plans have been actually coming into place, so I'm really excited to finally share with you all the details of where I'm going and also give you some advice on how you could also do the same thing if you're interested in moving abroad, studying abroad, based on the research that I've done for my move to Italy. So first off, I just want to say that everything I talk about in this video is just based on my own personal research. I am in no way a professional, so please don't take this as professional advice of exactly how you need to move abroad. This is for my situation where I will be studying. There are so many different things you need to do if you are going abroad for a different reason. So like I said, I'm no expert. I just have been doing research and this is what I found. So first off, the big announcement, where I'm going and when. I will be studying in Bologna, Italy in April of 2022. And it is so exciting to be able to say that because I have been waiting for this moment for so long and I just can't believe that I'm actually saying that and it's actually real. It still doesn't fully feel real yet, but I'm just excited that I've chosen a place and I know where I'm going and when. So I will be studying there for 6 months. I just wanted to share what I came up with as far as a plan in case you're trying to do the same thing or eventually you want to do the same thing. Let's go over visas. Again, this is specifically for if you are an American and you are wanting to study in Italy. So first off, a study visa is probably one of the easiest visas to get. Originally, when I was thinking about moving to Italy, I was doing research on the freelancer visa, which was very hard to find information on. I didn't know if I would even qualify, and I was like, this just seems way too confusing. A study visa is great because you also have the school that you're going to help you with paperwork and help walk you through stuff because obviously they've done this a million times with all their different students. So if you have any issues, you have them as a resource. Whereas other visas, you might have to be doing it by yourself or hire some sort of professional to help you. So tourists are allowed to stay in Italy for up to 3 months. But for me, since I am staying for 6 months, I definitely need some sort of study visa. So the visa that I am getting is called the long stay type D visa. It's an Italian national visa, and it will allow me to stay for longer than 90 days. My first steps were checking the website of the embassy that's closest to me. So for me, I knew where the Italian embassy was in Los Angeles because I studied abroad in Rome a few years ago. So I've already done this process before. That is where you can find all the information that you need online for details about the type of visa you should get and also what's required for actually applying for the visa. So definitely do some research and make sure that you're applying for the correct visa because there are so many different ones out there. You definitely want to do all of this ahead of time. I made my visa appointment like mid-December, early mid-December, and when I looked for available appointment times, the first available were early February to mid-February. So it's definitely not something where you can be like, oh, I'll just go next week for my appointment. It's something that sometimes things will be booked up. So make sure you give yourself a month or two in advance. Because this is something I realized, I was like, oh wait, I can't just wait until next year because then you still have processing times and stuff like that. So make sure that you're doing this stuff plenty of time in advance. However, with that being said, online it says you must apply for the visa no later than 3 weeks before your departure date and no earlier than 90 days. I honestly would not cut it that close, so just like find the sweet spot. I think for me, having that visa appointment in mid-February gives me plenty of time to get it processed and make sure there's no issues by the time I want to leave in beginning of April. Once you make your appointment, you will get a checklist of all the things you need to bring to your visa appointment. And there's a lot of different papers, a lot of different things that you need. So I'm just gonna go through some of them real quick. There's some other things in addition to this list, like passport size photos and little things that I didn't want to include every single thing. These are the things that you'll probably need for most like student visas. First off, you need a passport and it needs to be valid at least 3 months after when you're going to leave that country. So for me, my passport expires in 2024, so that's plenty of time. But if I had a passport that was expiring in the end of 2022, I would need to get it renewed because you need, like I said, at least 3 months after you leave the country before your passport expires. And then there's a visa application form. There also are a lot of websites that kind of walk you through it in case you have trouble, because there are some things where I'm like, wait, what does this mean? I don't want to, mess anything up. So there are websites that help describe every single little section so you know what to put down. Then this is really important. You need a letter from your program stating your acceptance. So this is something the school will handle once you pay for your course. Then you need a letter from your bank signed by a bank official and showing a very recent bank statement showing that you have a balance of at least $1,000 per month of when you'll be staying. So for me, since I'm staying 6 months, I would need to show that I have at least $6,000 in my bank account. And I know that definitely sounds like, whoa, this is why I've been saving up for Italy. That's another reason why you want to start planning in advance. Saving up money is very important. And I will also talk about budgeting later at the end of this video. And then next you will need proof of health insurance. There are so many different websites where that can help you get quotes for different types of health insurance. A lot of times schools even provide services for you depending on what kind of program you're doing, or there's a lot of different travelers insurance, just pretty basic plans. But based off of the research that I've done so far, it looks like the total price of the insurance I would pay for 1 full year in Italy is literally the exact same price that I pay per month here in America. So that's wild. And that'll be a huge savings for me. So that's very interesting to see, but also another budget item to keep in mind. And the next thing you will need is proof of lodging or where you're staying the whole time. Again, Italy doesn't want you to just come over and have no plan of how you're going to afford staying there, where you're staying, what you're doing, that kind of thing. So they want to make sure that you have a plan. I have been trying to find apartments. I'm currently looking for apartments that are like 1 to 2 bedroom because I will be going with my boyfriend. So I'm not looking for any sort of student apartments or rooms. I know in Bologna, it's like a big thing of not being able to find housing, but I've been looking at a few different websites and I've reached out to some places. Also, the school has provided me with some contacts. However, a lot of those places are right in the center and I just don't want to be somewhere that's very loud. So this is where I'm asking for your help. If you know Bologna or you know someone who does live there or has been there, definitely let me know good neighborhoods that are quiet. Like I still have access to the city. I really love walking, taking public transport, whatever. But I don't want to be like right in the thick of things because I do want to enjoy some peace and quiet and not feel like I'm in a super loud area. So if you have any recommendations of websites to look at, people to contact for apartments, or just general neighborhoods that are good, definitely comment them down below because I need help. And then you'll need to provide your flight itinerary. So when you're arriving to Italy and when you're leaving. And then finally, you need a money order or cashier's check to pay for the actual visa application fee. For me, a student visa is $59. So that's not too much. I've always assumed visas would be like hundreds of dollars, and there's some that are, but student visas, luckily for me, just $59. But like I said, it has to be a money order or cashier's check, which is something you just get at your bank. Just go to your bank and ask for money order or cashier's check, the amount that you need, and then they give it to you. So it's not like some crazy process to get one. I don't know with COVID if things will be a little bit more delayed. I do remember when I applied for my study visa when I went to Rome, I was actually surprised at how fast I got it back. Maybe that'll happen again, who knows? But it is very exciting when you get your passport back and you have your little visa. Just for overall recap, first step, check the website for your embassy or consulate and get the details on there. Second, make sure you're doing this ahead of time. 3, book an appointment, and then fill out any paperwork, collect any paperwork that you need. So again, you want to book your appointment a little bit in advance so you have time to collect all these things. So now I want to move on to the second part of this video. Now that we've talked all about visas and all that kind of stuff, I want to talk about the process of actually leaving my life behind in LA and how I'm planning to sell stuff, transition to a new country, all that kind of stuff. So first of all, if you've been watching my channel and you know me well, you know I am such a planner. I love lists, I love spreadsheets, whatever I can do to make my life more planned out. So I did make a spreadsheet, shockingly. Things that I should do 3 months in advance, 2 months, 1 month, and 2 weeks because I really wanted to make sure that I wasn't saving anything for last minute and that I didn't get a few weeks out and be like, oh no, I didn't do this or I didn't do that. You don't have to go that far in advance, just what feels right for you. But like I said, this isn't something that you should save until last minute. 3 months out, I would recommend, if you haven't already, book the program that you want to do, book your visa appointment, and then with that visa appointment, you're going to need to do things like finding your apartment. Definitely don't rush that as well. Like, take your time to look through apartments, talk with people, make sure there's no scams or anything. Buy your plane tickets, because usually it's also good to get the best deal to buy, I think like around 3 months in advance. So also don't wait too late to do that. Those few months before, you're just making sure that you have everything ready for your actual visa. 2 months out, I am going to start selling some things that I don't need. So obviously I won't be taking any sort of furniture. So I'll start selling some things on like Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp, like different apps that I can sell furniture. So things that I don't actively use every day for work or something, I can start slowly getting rid of those. Also, this is a good time, I've already done this a lot, is going through your closet and getting rid of clothes that you just don't need. I have done so many sweeps of my closet, just getting rid of so many things. I like listing things on Poshmark, and I've sold a few things, but also a great option is just donating, especially around the holiday time. Like, if you can donate clothes, those are definitely always needed. And you know, if you're not really concerned about making some extra money before you move, donating is a really great idea. Then I also want to list my apartment to sublet, so I will be leaving before my lease is up, so I have to make sure that someone can take my spot. So I'll go ahead and make some posts on like Facebook groups and some other groups to get people interested and kind of get the word out. I think that final move will be made like within the month before probably, but just to kind of get it out there and have people contact me and meet with people to make sure that they're a good fit. You know, I want to make sure that I also take enough time for this step. And then 1 month out, I want to figure out how I'm going to sell my car, because I won't be needing that. I don't expect to get a lot for it at all. I honestly just want to get rid of it. Then, you know, also continue selling some more items, getting down to as little as I can, just like the necessities of what I need to work, to sleep, like my bed, stuff like that. Also, this one is really important. Make sure that you schedule any sort of doctor's appointments that you need. So for me, this might be something actually that would be like 2 months out, 1 month out, just to make sure you get an appointment. For me, one thing I know I have to do at the beginning of next year is schedule an eye appointment, because I'm gonna need another year's worth supply of contact lenses, and I don't know exactly how that would work out in Italy. So I just wanna make sure that I get that done now while I'm still here. Other things like if you have any prescriptions that you need more of, if you need like birth control or any sort of prescriptions that maybe you're only getting like month by month or something, if you can ask your doctor, tell them that you're gonna be gone for a while, you need extra supply, whatever. So definitely don't skip that step, because it would be awful to be leaving in a few weeks and be like, oh my God, I don't have any contacts, or I don't have the medication that I need. So you gotta make sure that you do that. Then another thing you should probably do, maybe like once you're a little bit less than a month out, just making sure that you cancel any sort of subscriptions you have. I know I have a few different subscription-based service things that, you know, I get sent every month, every few months, whatever. You want to end those, because you don't want those things that you're buying to just go nowhere or go to an old address. Just make sure you do that. Also, if there's any sort of like change of address things you need to figure out. And then finally, 2 weeks out, this is where we're getting down to the nitty gritty. 2 weeks left before you go. I will want to officially sell my car by this point. I probably will need to use my car like pretty much right up until the end, so I'll try to hold on to it for as long as I can. Definitely doing that final push to sell the rest of my items, or like I said, just donate them. I also want to do some research on a phone plan, if I should do something with my network here, although probably I will just do something over there. When I studied abroad, I just did like one of those TIM phone plans, which wasn't the greatest, but I think it's a little bit easier and probably ultimately less expensive than whatever kind of like data charges I would get from being abroad. And then, like I said, ending some more subscriptions, change of address kind of things if you need to do any of that. I also forgot to mention that around the 1 month mark, I would notify work that I'm leaving. So by this point, I would have quit my job and already just, you know, spending these last few weeks to really just make sure I have everything ready, but also saying goodbye to LA and friends and stuff like that. So I don't want to be working like right up until I leave. You know, I should give myself some some time to just really focus on this move. And then of course, making sure the apartment sublet is all smooth, and also tying up any loose ends. Like for example, I am responsible for all of the like utility bills and stuff like that right now. So I would just make sure those get all transferred over. That way I'm not still getting billed for a place that I'm not living in anymore. So just any sort of those little loose ends of things you need to shift responsibility to someone else for. If anything else comes up, you know, I have plenty of time to add it to the list and figure that out as well. So if there's anything that I'm missing that you were like, oh my gosh, Shay, you're missing this, definitely comment it down below, because this is my first time doing this on my own, so I probably will be missing stuff. And then to go into the next part, I just want to talk quickly about budgeting and what I'm doing to have some sort of a budget before I go. So I also created a list for this, of course. I created a spreadsheet budget tracker. It's very simple, like nothing too crazy. I listed out things of prices that are set in stone. Like I know exactly how much they're gonna cost, so I know I can tally it up and see what sort of upfront costs there are. This would be things like the school or program costs. Some programs have like an application fee in addition to the tuition. For me and my visa, I do have to pay all of it up front in order to get my visa and get that letter. But for programs where you're only staying like 90 days or less, they usually do allow you to pay like as you go. And then also rent costs. Based off of the research I've done in Italy, it looks like you actually do pay a lot more upfront than you would here, which is fine because I have saved up. And once I do lock down an apartment, I know exactly how much I'll be paying per month. I can go ahead and put that in my budget tracker. And then of course, the price of the airplane ticket. Based off of what my boyfriend and I looked at so far, we're actually finding tickets for when we want to go round trip for like $700-800, so that's pretty nice. And then of course the visa cost. So like I said, for me $59 will be the price of my visa, and then also the cost of the insurance that you need to get. So those are like pretty set in stone costs. And then I'm going to talk about some other costs that may come up. Some extra things could be like buying new luggage. I did ask for some new luggage for Christmas, so hopefully I can get some help with that because luggage is expensive. But I definitely need some new ones because the suitcases I have are so old and tattered that I don't think they will survive a trip to Italy. Also, something to keep in mind is buying new clothes if you are going somewhere where the weather is very different. So for me, I definitely want to get a few more jackets, warmer clothes, because when I do get to Bologna, I'm sure it will be a little bit cooler than what I'm used to. But we will be going spring and then into summer where it does get very, very hot. So I don't have to worry about like too cold of winters, but here in LA, I'm just used to being warm all the time. Also, something just personally for me, I use my work laptop. So work provided me with a laptop that I've been using, that I use for everything, because the only laptop I have is like 6 years old that I used to use right when I first started college, and it's very slow. So a thing that I will have to keep in mind is also buying a new laptop. Just little things like that to keep in mind. I haven't done any sort of budgeting as far as what I plan to spend when I'm there, but I'm sure when I'm there, I'll do a video of the cost of living. Based on my research so far, the cost of living is obviously a lot lower than what it's like to live here in Los Angeles. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. For now, even just the apartments that I'm looking for are pretty much half the cost of apartments here. The whole apartment, 1 to 2 bedrooms, is the price that I'm paying for just my room in this apartment. Things like I won't have a car over there, so I won't have to pay for car insurance or gas or just like the maintenance costs of my car. Groceries are definitely less expensive. Going out to restaurants will be less expensive. So I'm definitely looking forward to the lower cost of living, and I've saved up so much by this point that I really do feel like financially I will be okay. So I know this is all probably super overwhelming. It definitely was for me, and getting up to this point took me a long time. So I hope that this video could provide you with some guidance that I wish I had when I was looking at all this stuff. My advice is to really just take one step at a time. But the first thing I did was making my visa appointment, because I was like, now this is set in stone. I have to get everything all together so that way it's ready for this visa appointment in February. So now the rest of the pieces will all fall in place. So if you're getting overwhelmed, just take that one step. It could be just booking your program, or it could be booking your visa appointment. Or if you're really eager, you could book that flight, you know, whatever you want to make your first step. I think once you do that, then you're like, okay, I can see all these other pieces start to fit together. So that's my advice, because yes, it's very scary at first. Then, like I said, you know, don't save anything for last minute. This is not something you want to mess around with. Do your research, and make sure you have a plan. You know, unfortunately, this whole process doesn't just end here. It's not like when you get to Italy, you can sit back and relax, you're done. When you do get to Italy, I have to go through this process of getting my permesso di soggiorno. I have to go through that whole process, which is not fun. That's something you cannot skip out on. So also make sure you're doing that kind of research as well. Like I said, I will be moving to Bologna and I am so excited. It just makes me so happy to think about. And of course, I will be making videos about my experience there. Please, if you have any advice about finding an apartment there, like I said, I'm looking for like a 1 to 2 bedroom for me and my boyfriend. So not any sort of like student housing, just one shared room or anything. If you have any advice about websites I should look at or Facebook groups, or you even know like someone who I can contact, that would be so great. Also, if you have quiet neighborhood recommendations, just to give me a better direction of where I should be looking. I'm very excited to take you all to Italy with me in April of 2022. Thank you so much for watching. If you found it helpful, definitely be sure to like and subscribe so you can continue watching my Italian journey, and I will see you all again very soon. Bye.